The Funds Analysis worksheet should be accessed prior to building the accounts. Figures mapped to the appropriate codes will feed into the funds analysis, where further analysis may be required. To access the Funds Analysis worksheet, scroll to the bottom of the Funds section of the wizard and select the Open button. Here you will see the 5 sections of the funds analysis. You can select to expand and collapse all sections here. The Pension Reserve section will allow you to allocate the pension reserve balance and pension income balance between unrestricted and restricted funds, or both fund types, using a drop-down and input cells provided. The Expenditure on Charitable Activities section can be used to set up allocation methods between fund types. The allocations created can then be used to allocate figures mapped to the Y7F Support Fundraising Expenses, Y7G Support Governance Expenses, Y6F Direct Fundraising Expenses, and Y6G Direct Governance Costs. The allocation will split the figures across the activities. You can also allocate any pension costs between the activities. The Trading Account section will only be used where figures have been mapped to the NMAP codes. You can determine the appropriate fund type for the non-charitable income and expenditure using the drop-down provided. The Statement of Movement in Funds section will require you to allocate the income and expenditure for each fund type between the various funds. The input cells will need to be populated to equate to the figures mapped to the K income and Y expenditure codes. The brought forward figures are automatically populated from the figures mapped in the J codes. You will also need to allocate any transfers in and out to the appropriate funds. The map code used to populate each brought forward code can be seen on the right hand side. The final section, Analysis of Net Assets, will require you to allocate the Restricted Funds Class 2 and Endowment Funds for each asset and liability. The net asset subtotal for each fund type should equal to the total carried forward from the Statement of Movement in Funds sections. To allocate figures to each fund type, simply insert the figures from the input cells provided. All figures inserted into these sections will feed into the accounts within the appropriate notes. If you wish to hide or unused rows within the funds analysis, simply select the View tab, then remove the tick from the skipped text box. Once you are happy with the work done within the funds analysis, click Save and close the funds analysis, and you can complete the final section of the wizard.